Welcome to Story Green. It's a place where you can find stories to listen to and things to do. Whenever one story ends, you will hear this sound. You can pause and take some time to do the activity. Or, if you'd prefer, continue on to the next tale. You might like to listen to the stories outdoors, in the garden or the park. If you do, you will need a smartphone and, if you can, some headphones. But if you'd prefer to listen at home, then you can do that instead. Because stories have been told out loud in all kinds of places, houses and homes, around campfires and under the stars, beneath trees and in the shadow of mountains and tower blocks too. They've been told and passed on for thousands of years, from the days when our great-great-great-great-grandmothers and grandfathers were young. So, to get these stories started wherever you are, we're going to find some things that are the same today as they would have been long, long ago. Can you find one thing that you can see? Maybe it's the sky or a tree. One thing that you can hear, perhaps it's birds or the breeze. And one thing to be, a human being, just like you and me, ready for an adventure, ready for a story. And oh, what stories we've got to share. We hope that you will enjoy all three. In the old days, there were 7 fiery, scorching hot suns that howled across the sky. They were like a ravenous pack of fierce wolves that ate up the earth. The lava heat of their gaze dried up rivers that had once been ice, and the golden fish baked where they lay, while all the wildlife scurried away. Something needed to be done. So the people called for a hero to vanquish the suns. And one came, a brilliant archer, with 7 arrows made of ancient magical ice, and an aim that was so true that it could pierce clouds and wind and fog and split a blade of grass in 2. The people gathered to watch, and the archer stretched. The bow was filled with tension, and the archer aimed with deadly accuracy. No mercy. And the first arrow flew with the might of the archer behind it, and the first sun fell, and then another, and another, and another, and the people began to cheer. Birds and animals peered out from nests and burrows, and insects buzzed in celebration. And an ordinary little bird flew gracefully through the sky and landed on a crooked branch to watch, as the archer fitted the bow with the last arrow and took aim at the final sun while everyone held their breath. But what would happen to the earth when the last sun fell? The bird's instincts told it that if the last sun was to fall, then there wouldn't be any more light, and the earth would die. And so all of a sudden, with a pounding heart, the bird flew as fast as it could to save the last precious sun. And as it flew, it called. I was swooping in the sky as sun by sun was shot down. It was a great and then a terrible sight. My heart nearly stopped when I realised it would be the end of the world as the archer shot the last arrow. And these may be my last words, my final song. But this is my destiny, to face my fears and save the sun. I don't call for help, even though I'm in danger, even though I sacrifice myself. and the last arrow approached the sun, and the bird glided into its path, and the arrow caught the bird. And the bird sighed, in relief, because the archer's arrows had only struck its tail feathers. And as the feathers fell to the ground, the bird swooped, and the archer turned and walked away. And now there were no more arrows. The sun and the earth were safe. But just to be sure, the sun hid behind a great mountain to the west, just as it does every day, to this very day. And some say that if you can find a feather on the ground and hold it in your hand, it will make you wise and brave, just like that little bird. The words in the story were all by young people from Thornton School. They came up with some brilliant descriptions. And now it's your turn. We're going to look at the bit of the story where the bird's feather falls to the ground. We'd like to invite you to find a feather, and when you've found it, to throw it up in the air and watch as it floats down. You might want to do it a few times because it's really good fun. When you've done that, can you describe how the feather feels in your hand and how it moved in the air as it fell to the ground? When you're ready, listen to the next story and see if you can spot the feathered friend in that tale too.